So for me, I'm spending my last 5K. I'm gonna take 1,000 of it and I'm gonna go to an industry event that I know there will be people there that I can leverage and use my skill set and my talent to close a deal. Coriel and I were in Hawaii, and at that, was it Hawaii?
It was Hawaii.
It was Hawaii. At that conference, I closed 6 figures in deals from that one conference.
Ask me what I closed, y'all. My mouth. I closed my mouth and walked away with nothing. She is not lying. She is not lying.
So for me, I would take that and I would go to an event. I would do my best to stay at a friend's house. Like, I am a firm believer in building relationships. Life is a relationship game. If you want to win at it, figure out how to build mutually beneficial relationships. I would stay at a friend's house. I would use that $1,000 to pay for my flight and pay for my ticket to the event. I would get super clear on who's already going to be there. I would reach out to them before they get there and say, hey, I would love to cover your social media for you as you're speaking on the stage. What that will do is get me in the back room where the speakers are so I can make connections with people who cut checks.
Girl, stop playing.
Give yourselves a round of applause, studio audience. Not only are y'all at our first live taping, y'all are getting a first look. How many of y'all been back to the table? Not yet. Okay, y'all going back there because your girl released. It's been in the making, y'all. It's been in the making for a minute. I'm real excited. We're going to play a little bit today, but your girl released the Pull Your Card Ultimate Party Game. It's going to have your kickbacks lit. Y'all still go to kickbacks?
Mm-hmm, sure.
That was a college thing. Okay, it's gonna have y'all family reunions lit, wherever y'all like to hang out, game night, all the things. Definitely make sure y'all check it out in the back. Y'all got first dibs on that thing. So I'm excited about that. Also excited to get into this conversation. Again, this is the Girl Stop Playing podcast. I'm your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. Because y'all already know that I believe that you can make the money and you can get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And so tonight, we're talking about making the money. We're talking about getting the honey. And we're going to get all up into the mind of a few good men. Okay, y'all ready for some good conversation? All right, so we have on our Make the Money lineup on this episode 2 real life money makers, y'all. 2 baddies. They looking good, ain't they?
I mean,
yeah. They're baddies, but they're bossed up and they got that bag, okay? Total package. So Miss Donnie Wiggins, Miss Alechia Reese, I'm gonna have y'all give yourselves an introduction so we can make sure we put some respect on your name.
Okay. Who's going first? So I am Donnie Wiggins. I'm a business development strategist. I work with entrepreneurs who are in different phases. So you could be in a startup phase, you could be scaling to your 7 figures, starting up, going to your 6 figures. I help you get clear in your idea and develop a strategy to take your business to your next level, with whatever that looks like for you. And I am the co-host of the Social Proof podcast. So there is that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. First of all, I'm sitting next to greatness. Ain't she?
Come on,
y'all?
greatness.
Yeah, first of all, so are you. You know what I mean?
Well, hello, y'all. My name is Alechia Reese. I am like warm tea and Hennessy, depending on what you need. That's what you're going to get. I am a transformation coach, and I help executives and emerging professionals create and build lives that not only look good, but feel good. And I am also an award-winning strategist. I've worked with everyone from Verizon, Bank of America, UPS, Soledad O'Brien, Zendaya Coleman, creating strategies for their go-to-market.
Love it. Come on, clap that up one time. So my first question is all around what you currently do, which you already answered that, but share one of your biggest wins, because y'all know sometimes we don't really respect who we're listening to unless we know some of the things that they've done. So you name dropped a couple people, but talk about, like, what would you say is like your proudest moment in business, your biggest win thus far?
So I would say my proudest moment was really betting on myself. I've shared the story plenty of times, but I was in an abusive marriage, and my ex-husband basically told me either stay and I'll take care of everything financially, or leave and you'll figure it out on your own. You can't dare me, because don't truth or dare me, because I'm gonna choose dare. So I was like, okay, bet. I decided that I was going to go ahead and leave. I sold my house, liquidated my 401k, quit my job, moved to New York, instantly became homeless because my apartment fell through. Within that first year, I was already at 6 figures with Zendaya Coleman as my client.
Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Talk about a bossy bounce back.
Yeah.
It's something about leaving a relationship, though, that'll make you get your whole life, especially when somebody that
Together.
dared you and tried it. Oh, he tried it.
Playing in your face.
Playing. Hey, Donnie.
Hey, Cole. Same thing.
Same thing.
Okay, so I got to be honest with y'all. I have two.
Okay.
That's okay. Making 7 figures.
Come on. Come on.
It's one of my proudest moments because I didn't grow up in an environment where I was impoverished. I discovered being poor all on my own as an adult.
We can relate.
Yeah, making some
it.
terrible decisions financially and figuring it out. So it was very important for me. I am the CEO I'm the female CEO that chose to focus on a career before I chose to focus on a love life. And it was very important for me my goal has always been to make 7 figures by myself without the assistance of a relationship being responsible for that. So we did that. All right. And then the second thing, just last year, earlier this year, I was able to purchase my mom a condo. And that has been a dream. We have lived in a condo building, an exclusive condo building here in Atlanta for 8 years. And I'm like, Mom, where do you want to live? Where do you want to go? And she's like, I never want to move out of this building. So I upgraded her from a tenant to an owner. And that's probably the best thing I've ever done.
Yes. All right, so there are a lot of entrepreneurs in the building. I already polled the room. We have some aspiring, we have some full-time, we got some that's playing around. We're gonna work on that.
Okay.
But for someone out there who's struggling, trying to figure out, because the question you ask is like, well, what should I do? We're all multi-talented. Like, we all have multiple skills, and you get on the gram and you see all the people doing all the things, and you can kind of get lost in that sauce of what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. So each of you, what would you say is your best advice for someone who's struggling to decide what they should do?
You have to start, right? But the one thing as a former self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur, I am a serial entrepreneur now, but when I was broke, I was also claiming to be a serial entrepreneur. When the truth was I had a whole lot of ideas and I had a whole lot of hobbies that weren't producing income. When I decided to stop doing all those things and focus on one thing until successful, that's when success started to happen for me. So if you are someone who's struggling between multiple ideas, which one should we do? Doesn't matter, just pick one, right? It's not difficult to make an idea successful. It's difficult to make multiple ideas successful from scratch. So just pick one, and then the biggest thing after that is get started. Like, you don't know what you're capable of doing until you actually put one foot in the game and then follow it up with the second foot and make some moves.
Absolutely. I love that, especially the just get started piece.
Yeah.
Because too many times we let ourselves get like stuck because we just won't start. So for me, I'm super practical. Even like my mother was super religious. So even with reading the Bible, I was like, all this yay and I say, give me some New International Version. So for me, I always needed it to be, what does it look like in terms of practicality? So I always tell people, I call it discovery mapping. I created it when I was trying to figure out my life. You take a piece of paper, you make 3 columns. So that's just 2 lines, make sure it's a landscape. In the first line, list out all of your skills, all your talents, all the things. The second one, I want you to attach a problem to every single one of your skill sets. Every single one, attach a problem to. In that third column, I want you to create a solution. Think of your solution as your product, your service, or your opportunity, and connect a solution to every single one of them. And what you'll find is your purpose is heavily tied to the skill sets that you were innately gifted, whether it's something that you were born with or something that you crafted over time. Your purpose is tied into that. So when you get to that solutions column and you're able to tie in, what will people pay me for? This is a problem that I solve. This is a skill set that I have. This solution column is what people will pay me for. And then one step further, 1 through 5, identify how each of them make you feel.
Yep.
I could braid my behind off. Can I curse on here or no?
Girl, stop playing.
Okay, great. Good, because I really wanted to say it this way. I can braid my ass off. However, I don't like it. It makes me feel like a 1. So it's not something that I would do or something that I would create because I don't like the way it makes me feel. And I am not okay with making a whole lot of money but feeling like shit.
Mm-hmm. You want to
Can
say a
I
whole lot of
piggyback?
curse words. I know who I got up here, girl. I know.
Can I piggyback off
Yes,
that real
of
quick?
course.
So what you're saying is absolutely correct. I work with a lot of service-based entrepreneurs, and for those of you who feel like you know information that you want to teach to people or help people with, consult people with, One of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give is that your ideal market, typically your ideal customer or client, is typically some version of who you are or who you have been, right? So I help people create clarity in their business, get super, super clear about what you should be doing, what that customer journey looks like, how much you should be charging. But I remember struggling for so many years being a person who was all over the place. I had a foot here, a foot here, a foot here. I'm undercharging. I don't know what to charge. But when I finally started to figure it out and going piece by piece, I sat down and realized that the people who I'm serving today are people who I have been, or people in a situation that I am currently in right now, right? And remember that you can always pivot. Where you start doesn't mean that that's where you have to finish.
So I was going to ask you that, Donnie, because you talked about being a serial entrepreneur and having multiple things going on. How do you know when it's time to pick one?
Yeah. My bank account told me.
Okay.
It's time,
Well, there it
sis.
is.
My bank account was like, you carried the 1, and if you divide that by 7, sis, it's not looking that good, right?
The math wasn't mathing.
The math was not mathing, but even more importantly than that, like, so I was produced by my mom, who is a serial entrepreneur. Like, she's tried everything, and I watched that growing up. But my stepfather, who raised me also, is a very literal thinker, very, very smart, very wise, very, I like to say that he taught me the skill of critical thinking. So I am gifted in a lot of areas, right? And I know how to do a lot. And I went through this stage where I wanted everybody to know how smart I was. I can have an engineering conversation with you, and I can have a streets conversation with you too. And so I'm doing all these things, and I'm realizing as I'm building my business and I'm helping people to be successful, I transparently was still broke, like in the beginning. And I had to pick something and go all in on it, because even though I was talented and skilled in all these areas, because I was doing, network marketing at one time, and at the same time I'm doing personal development coaching for women, and then at the same time I'm doing resume writing for somebody else, and then I'm doing business coaching over there, I was average in everything. And average people performing at an average level always make average money.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision to be great at something, because I identified the amount of money that I wanted to make, and the people who I admired most at that time. Like, for example, Oprah, I have admired her my whole life and always did, like the Beyoncés who come up. You see them doing all these things, so you think, oh, well, if they do all these things, Oprah has a show, Oprah has a network, Oprah has a magazine, I can do all these things too. But when Oprah became great, Oprah just had a show. And then she added, she commanded her space, she became an authority, and then she added something else, and then something else. So I started to pay attention to the inner workings of how the people who I would actually trade places with career-wise and financially operate, and I started to operate that same way.
So I've had a conversation recently where someone was like, I don't subscribe to this whole do what you're passionate about thing. Like, where are the profits?
Yeah.
And I feel like you kind of just tapped into this where, you don't want to do anything that doesn't make you feel good, even though it could make you profitable. How do you all feel about going towards what's profitable versus what you're passionate about? And do you think you have to choose?
So I feel like I'm passionate about swimming, right? I'm really passionate about it. I love to swim. I like to swim in the ocean. I like jumping in with the sharks and swimming with like the little animals and stuff. I'm really passionate about that. And also, I'm not about to try and make money off of it. Like, it'll take away the joy from me. When I said I want you to assign how something makes you feel, the reason I want you to assign it is because however the journey feels, that's how the destination will feel. If you are miserable building the business, if you are miserable creating the products and the services, if you are miserable doing that, when you achieve the 6 figures and the 7 figures and the 8 figures, because why stop there at the 9 figures and you sell it and you do all the things and you get VC funding and all the other things, you're gonna feel like shit. It is not going to feel good. So yes, you can be passionate about something and still decide that, as passionate as I am, this is not the avenue that I should go into, because it does not make sense. It does not feel good to my nervous system, and I won't be able to make money and feel good about the money that I'm making because I don't like it. And then 2, understand people don't just buy products and services, they buy solutions. What solution are you providing for them? I bought shoes because I needed something cute to wear with my outfit. You might not understand, or you might be like, oh, but that's a vanity solution. It don't matter. it's a solution. So if you focus and decide, okay, I'm passionate about this, and this also solves a problem, and this makes me feel good, for me, that's the lane I'm going in.
I hope they wrote down. Did y'all write down what she said? She gave a whole little class. Okay. Donnie?
I'm a little different.
Okay. We like different.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a little. So it's not that I'm different. It's just a and. It's a ... right? So what I do every single day, I'm incredibly passionate about. I have, since I was a very little girl, been passionate about helping people live life by their own design, right? I was that kid in middle school who used to see those commercials on TV from the children from third world countries, and I'd ask my mom, like, look, put all the allowance on her. I need to sponsor this kid because I want to help their lives be better. So I am incredibly passionate about that. And my passion at one point didn't serve me financially at all. I was just doing these things for free and I didn't make any money. However, once I figured out how to monetize my passion, it became like a dream. I literally lived my dream come true, right? On the flip side of that, there are passive income streams that I am also a part of that I have absolutely no passion for. I just need to believe in the brand, I need to believe in the numbers, and I need to believe in the people who I'm investing in that they can actually accomplish the goal. I have no passion for it. I might not even know anything about it, right? I need you to know about it. And I need you to convince me that you know so much about it that this serves people well, produces value, and is profitable. So for me, not everybody is lucky enough to find a passion that they can monetize. The same way, even though we're all purposed, everybody isn't lucky enough to actually discover what that purpose is in their lifetime. So if you are blessed and fortunate enough to find your passion and monetize it, you have literally hit the lifestyle jackpot. But if you are sitting on ideas because you're not passionate about it, however, you're skilled, you like it, you could do it, and it's not causing you any mental, emotional stress or trauma, monetize the heck out of that idea. And I promise you, when you start making more money, you're going to go in different environments and you will discover, you will run dead into a passion. Run right into it. I didn't know that I was passionate in this space of helping people build and transform their lives. I had no idea. Because I was so stuck in a space where I was broke and I didn't have access, I didn't have resources, I didn't have options. But once I got involved in different industries and started actually making money, I could breathe a little bit and I could see clearly through the dust and say, hey, I really like this aspect of what I'm doing. How can I apply this in other areas of my life? And that's just, that's my take on it.
I love that too.
No, go ahead.
It's doing what you gotta do to be able to do what you want to do.
That's it right there.
And there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's actually smart because then, like I tell people all the time, and they're like, "Oh, well, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I'm working corporate." Don't get mad at being a business bestie. I love a good business bestie because I'm gonna need to come to you to get a sponsorship for some things that I'm doing. So y'all stay there till I get the sponsorship. But my thing is use the check that they give you every 2 weeks. They are your first investor. Like, don't get mad because you have to work a corporate job. You're like, oh, well, I'm working this corporate job. And you say it with an attitude. Who the hell cares? You are getting a check. They are your investor. Take that money, reduce your expenses. If you get your nails done every 2 weeks, take your expenses down to the lowest possible amount. When I knew I was leaving corporate, I taught myself to do my own hair, my own nails, my own toes. Take your expenses down. All that extra money that you would spend on the trips, on the shoes, on the Gucci, on the whatever, take that and put that as, okay, this is my investment fund. Don't call it your rainy day fund because whatever energy you put behind it, you're going to eventually need a rainy day fund. Put that as your this is my investment fund. Don't be mad because you work a corporate job. Get excited. This is an opportunity for me. Everything is about perspective. This is an opportunity that I can build these relationships inside of this corporate organization and entity. I can take the extra money that I'm making, put it in my investment fund, and then I can start building relationships with the people that I need to build those relationships with so I can then turn them into one of my first clients because they already know how I produce.
Yep.
Like,
That's
do
exactly
what you gotta
what
do.
I did.
Yeah.
I leveraged my corporate job that paid me significantly, but it wasn't significant for me. It was significant to them, right? And I had to shift my attitude. I literally, I hated my job, period. I used to roll up so 8 Ball and MJG is my favorite rap duo of all time, okay? I used to pull up to my office. So I managed properties, and our office was inside of a condo building, but our offices were on the first floor. We would keep the patio door open, right, to the executive offices. And I promise you, I would pull up to my office every single day because they would always piss me off. The day before, I'd pull up playing that song, "Don't Make Me Kill No Motherfucking Body in Here. I'ma shoot 3 shots. Somebody done made me hot." That's how
Not you
I
still know the
arrived
song.
at work.
You still know the song
I know the
verbatim.
song. First of all, I still feel that energy you're talking about when you put energy behind something. That's the energy that stays behind it. Like every time I hear that song, I see that staff, and I am raging and ready to go. One day, my developer, who is essentially my CEO, he lands his helicopter on the roof. Him and his son, he's coming to meet with me. I requested a meeting because my immediate boss wouldn't allow me to be off for my daughter's 5th grade graduation. So I called him like, "I'm selling all of these properties. I'm your #1 producer. I'm the only producer." He comes in and he lands on the roof. Him, his son, his dog get out of this helicopter.
Dog.
They come into the office and he's like, "Sure, Donnie, you can have whatever day off you want to have off. I've got some good news and some bad news for you." This is when the recession hit, right? This is back at that time that the recession hit. And I essentially worked so hard for a company that laid me off the moment that things looked shaky for them. The next job that I got, I decided to approach it differently. So I was struggling. I went from making 6 figures on that job to the recession hitting. I lost my house, I lost my cars. I was practically homeless, went to live with my mom, and I had to figure it out. I went from making 6 figures to a job making $11 an hour, right? I decided with a friend of mine that we would open a clothing store. Don't know how we're gonna do it. Now, $11 an hour? My mom allowed me, thankfully, she allowed me to only be responsible for me and my daughter's food. Everything else was covered, okay? I would later find out that everything else was covered because she was in the process of foreclosing too, and there were no bills, right? There was no mortgage. However, everything was covered, and so I would take this $11 an hour. Me and my friend made a list of all the things that we needed for this boutique. And I would say, okay, I've got $30 extra this check. We can get hangers. We can do this. And we did this until my garage became full of inventory.
Yep.
We understood that we would never be able to start a boutique here in Atlanta with the money that we had access to. So we started to look in some prime markets, some subprime markets. And we literally closed our eyes, put our options on the map, and was like, okay, Macon, Georgia, that's where it was. Rent was $600. We ordered all the inventory we could off of eBay. We sold out of everything the very first day. We had all these people coming in from Atlanta to drive up to Macon, which is about an hour away, to support the boutique that next day. Girl, we had to go to TJ Maxx, Marshall's, Ross, buy everything that was on clearance that looked good, and like re-tag all of this stuff to sell the next day. I'm talking about do what you have. That wasn't a passion. It was do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. At the same time, I had a job, Coriel, and I realized that that job was my investor for my business that I want. It didn't look good. It wasn't the check for $100,000 that I wanted, but every $300 check that I got, I was able to flip into inventory that I could purchase and make $3,000 off of that. So we have to start changing the conversation that we're having in our heads and with other people. You don't hate going to your job. You don't dread going to your job. You're getting prepared every Sunday night to go and spend a week with your investor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Clap that up. Y'all didn't even know y'all was gonna get schooled like this. Okay, I didn't even know y'all was gonna get schooled like this. Okay, so for somebody out there who might be down to their last, and they gotta figure out how to flip that thing. If you were down to your last 5K, how would you invest it? What would you do with it? How would you make it work? How would you flip it?
I'd have been down to my last negative 5K, if we're being honest. Like I said, when I moved to New York, I instantly became homeless. What I didn't understand about living in New York, because mind you, I'm a Florida girl, born and raised. I'm not crazy like them, but I understood money the way Floridians do. Our rent is max, $1,000. I went to New York and I was like, I'm gonna live in Chelsea. Y'all, Average rent in Chelsea is like $7,000 a month. Listen, I had no understanding of how money like really works. So I get to New York, I am broke in 90 days. All the money I had saved, broke in 90 days. I moved my sister, I moved my daughter. We're in New York, I'm under pressure. I had a 3-bedroom home in a gated community, like all the things, and now I'm sleeping on a mattress with my sister to my far right, my daughter in the middle, and my big behind on the left side of the bed. Big.
I was about to say,
listen,
girl.
it's big now. Don't y'all get it twisted. So I'm laying in the bed and I'm looking at the accounts and I'm getting very, very worried, very concerned because there's no money coming in, right? And so for me, I'm a firm believer. If you get me in the room, listen.
She is gonna work a room.
Put me anywhere on God's green earth and I'll triple my worth, motherfucker. Like, word to Jay-Z.
Ain't lying.
I'm so sorry. I'm cursing up a storm on your podcast.
I know who you are, girl.
Thank you.
I'm glad it's you and not me this time.
So for me, I'm spending my last $5K. I'm gonna take 1,000 of it and I'm gonna go to an event, an industry event that I know there will be people there that I can leverage and use my skill set and my talent to close a deal. Coriel and I were in Hawaii, and at that, was it Hawaii?
It was Hawaii.
It was Hawaii. At that conference, I closed 6 figures in deals from that one conference.
Ask me what I closed, y'all. My mouth. I closed my mouth and walked away with nothing. She is not lying. She is not lying.
So for me, I would take that and I would go to an event. I would do my best to stay at a friend's house. Like, I am a firm believer in building relationships. Life is a relationship game. If you want to win at it, figure out how to build mutually beneficial relationships. I would stay at a friend's house. I would use that $1,000 to pay for my flight and pay for my ticket to the event. I would get super clear on who's already going to be there. I would reach out to them before they get there and say, hey, I would love to cover your social media for you as you're speaking on the stage. What that will do is get me in the back room where the speakers are so I can make connections with people who cut checks. I mean, that's just my strategy. And then I would take the rest of the money and determine what do I need to be prepared for this conference. Do I need a website? Do I need a landing page? Do I need a business card? Which, no, you don't. You get you a dot card. It's virtual. You don't have to pass out a whole bunch of those. Everybody you connect with, you immediately, give them your information. So for me, it's what do I need to have set up so that immediately once I get there, I am able to close deals. What does that look like? So that's what it is for me.
I was going to have you tell that story because it was so mind-blowing, like watching her work this room. And then when you told me how much money you got on the back end, I was just smacking myself. I couldn't believe it.
What most people don't understand is people go into a room feeling lowly because you don't make as much, you don't look like them. I don't give a fuck what I look like or what they look like. You could be white, black, blue, or purple. I don't care. Every single person has value. If you can honor the fact that you have some inherent value, you have an intrinsic value that somebody is going to need. If you anchor yourself in that, whatever you are good at, whatever you are best at, every time you walk into the room like, y'all motherfuckers need what I got. And because you need what I got, I'm ready and willing to give that to you for a fee.
Yep.
People are attracted to confidence. The fine, charismatic, super excited type of men, a lot of women are attracted to him because it's a pheromone. It is an energy that is given off without him ever opening his mouth. Same thing for you when it comes to business. I am confident in my ability to produce because I have it's a delusional level of faith in my ability to create and produce. So when I walk into a room, I speak to you like, I don't care if you're the CEO or the janitor, I got something that you need.
Yep.
And I act like it.
It's refreshing.
Very, very similar. So first of all, one of my daily affirmations is I believe in my ability to figure it out.
Absolutely.
And that is an affirmation that has stuck with me over the years because one thing I know about Donnie Wiggins is it doesn't matter what we have access to or don't have access to. Similarly, I believe in my ability to figure out we're going to get this done one way or the other. It may not look pretty, but it's going to get done. Very similar to you, if I was down to my last 5,000, knowing what I know now is very different. I would invest in a high income skill set. And it's very important. I would invest in a coach or a mentor who can teach me and guide me through this high income skill set. So we all know, I don't believe there's a person in this room, just like there's not a person on this planet that doesn't have some information that you could teach someone else. The problem is you think that what you know isn't enough. You think that what you know isn't enough to be paid for, and you certainly believe that what you know isn't enough for somebody to pay you a high income for, and I am here to tell you that you are wrong, okay? During the pandemic, I created what's now my signature program for coaches, consultants, and course creators, and I was trying to figure out, can I really help people who feel like they don't have a monetizable skill find this monetizable skill? And I came across an Instagram post, shout out to the Social Proof
I'm about to say,
Podcast,
look at them rolling
van
up.
pulling up. I came across this Instagram post of a young lady who, number one, teaches women how to double dutch.
It's real. That's real.
Teaches women, that's every little black
girl
girl's pastime.
Yep.
And you figured out how to make six figures, maybe multiple, from teaching people how to jump rope. Then I found, or double dutch, then I found a young lady who coaches women on maintaining their pelvic floor through hula hoop. Girl, I hula hoop for fun. And you mean to tell me you got a $1,000 course and you attached the pelvic floor to the hula hoop?
$1,000.
Who coached you? Invest in a coach or a mentor that can help you believe, help you discover, and help you market and make money from a high income skill set that you already possess. If you're the executive assistant on your job right now, guess what? You have a high income skill set. If you are doing this job very well, guess what you're qualified to do? You are qualified to teach individuals who want to be executive assistants for CEOs, and they want to do this as a business. You can package up what you do, how you manage travel, how you manage calendars, how you manage being the liaison between the CEO and his contractors and the CEO and the rest of the team. You do that, right? That's a high income skill set. There's somebody who wants to create a 6 or 7 figure business offering executive assistant services to whoever. You are a successful executive assistant. And instead of understanding that that's a high level skill, a high income skill set, you are sitting there wallowing in the fact that, oh, I did nothing with my life. I'm just somebody's assistant.
Girl, you better preach.
But you better put a $24.97 sign on it.
And that's
then
not
you better
$24.97.
That's not $24.97. It better be $2,497 where you help people get started in becoming an executive assistant. But if Co will tell you anything about me, it doesn't stop there. So now you've helped people get started as an executive assistant because they've gone through your coaching program or your course for $24.97. Now you're gonna see the cream of the crop who actually went out and started it. They did the course, they went through the course, and now they're generating some money. Well, now they wanna make $100,000, $250,000. They wanna earn $1 million. Now guess what you have? You have a mastermind program, and that costs $25,000.
Yes.
Okay, so the people that you help generate an extra $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, they now want to invest in you at a higher level because they're taking their last X amount of dollars and investing it into a high income skill set. It's a reciprocal process. But that's what I would do with my last $5,000. I'm investing all, look, the old me would have went and got some inventory and put it on eBay and tried to flip some stuff, but it doesn't have to be that hard. All you need to do is actually sit down. The same way you sit in rooms, you go to conferences, and you go to church even, and you feel like that piece of information is for you. The difference is you go home and you're by yourself and you don't know what to do with the information that you've received. You don't know how to download it. You need someone who can help you. And if you can't invest in a coach or a mentor, you need an accountability partner or someone who is skilled at doing the thing that it is that you want to do. Just ask some questions, figure it out. Invest in yourself first. That is the best investment you can make ever, and it's the first investment that you should make if you are down on your luck.
Well, y'all ready to get to the money? Was this good or was this good? That thing was good.
I thought we were at the money.
So I know, I know they don't want the conversation to end here. Please let the people know where they can find you on social media how they can find your stuff online. Like, how can they stay connected?
Yeah. So for me, you guys, you can text me directly. Typically, I attract a lot of entrepreneurs who are like, Donnie, I heard what you said, but I'm stuck. I don't know the first thing to do. We will help you figure that out. If there's an opportunity for you to work with me closely, we will let you know what that looks like. 404-737-2767. Again, my phone number is 404-737-2767. And just say, hey, Donnie, like, look, I'm lost. I heard you say to text you and ask you what am I supposed to do, and that's what I'm doing. You can also follow me on Instagram at Donnie, D-O-N-N-I, Wiggins _. And lastly, for sure, I drop entrepreneurial game all day, every single week on the Social Proof Podcast. Subscribe to us on any podcasting platform available.
And you can find me all over Beyonce's internet. At Alechia Reese. It is spelled quite uniquely. My mother knew I would be unique. It is spelled Alechia, last name Reese, Reese. You can listen to me every week as well on the Triggered AF podcast.
Oh, you didn't say that curse word.
Well, because it really is Triggered AF.
Okay.
For the brands, you know.
Gotcha.
Triggered AF podcast. It is all everywhere. You can even join us at gotvaluenation.com, which is where I work with high impact entrepreneurs and emerging professionals, showing them how to build lives that not only look good, but feel good.
Clap it up for our Making the Money episode. Thank you, ladies.
Yes.